Welcome to another video. Today's video, I'm gonna be working on my 67 Ford Mustang. I'm gonna be making a custom grill here for the front end. Stay tuned.
Music bed.
Okay, so I went ahead and ordered this grill material. You can go online and find different companies that sell grill material depending what you want to do. If you are doing this kind of front end, they also do sell like the billet style one, which is kind of like, you know, metal lines across. You can buy those pre-made. They're pretty expensive. I think a few $100s, maybe like $300 to $400. I just wanted something like a mesh so it protects my radiator, my oil cooler there at the bottom. So I ordered this one. Actually, Amazon has it as well. The only thing is it comes rolled up, so it comes in a small box. When I grabbed it, I went ahead and rolled it out to try and make it as straight as I can. And then I went ahead and I already did this, but I put a piece of cardboard here on the back because I have access, and I traced it. So this is what pretty much the size of the grill is gonna be, right? I traced that, and then I kind of figured if this was almost the right size, and I traced this piece, which fits right in there. Now I already, I had transferred this over here with Sharpie. Originally I was just gonna put it behind, but then I kind of changed my mind because, you know, here it does have a flat piece where I could kind of bolt it down to, but nothing around. So if I put it flat, there's nothing for me to bolt it here. I guess I could have just bolted in this little corner. And over here I could have put little brackets to bolt it to my little crossbar there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it the size of that cardboard piece and then bend it and just put a couple, you know, probably like 4 little screws to hold it. Now I already bent this top part, so on this material that I ordered, it has this solid piece on the top and solid piece on the bottom, or top bottom, whichever. And I didn't want to leave that just kind of straight on the top. That way it kind of looks the same. Also, I figured this being solid, I bent it. What I did is I put it on the floor, put my level on top of it, and then just bend it up. And I grab a small hammer, body hammer, and I just kind of hit it so it was nice and straight. And then I retraced this. As you can kind of see here, actually it's this way. Got a line here, and I'm gonna cut it about 1 inch longer all the way through, and that way I can actually bend the rest of this. Maybe not 1 inch, but that way I can bend it, and that's where I can attach it. This is the bottom piece, so I traced it, and then I'm just gonna, I may just cut it all the way around and bend it all, but I'm gonna just have a few tabs. Probably, you know, just use a few screws here and there. I don't need that much. It's just gonna hold it in there. Plus it's gonna be harder to, you know, drill a hole or something on the bottom part. I don't have like a, you know, angle drill bit holder for my drill, so I may just cut it all the way bigger, and then since all of this will be bent, you know, I'll have a couple pieces to hold it on the sides. So that's kind of where I'm at with this now. This stuff is very inexpensive. I mean, I think this was about $30 for a small roll, which is enough for me. And like I said, there's different styles. I wanted kind of this design here, which is kind of like little, like a honeycomb. I may leave it in the gray like it is now, or maybe I'll spray paint it black. I'm not sure yet. So maybe I'll install it, leave it gray, and then later I'll paint it black, or I'll paint it black right away. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. I'll grab my cutoff wheel, my grinder with the cutoff wheel, and just cut all the way around. And then I'm gonna start bending it here with, I think I'm just gonna have like a body hammer and a little dolly, so I'll probably put it and gonna start going. On the edges here, I may, a couple things, I'm probably gonna cut it this way, just that way when this is bending, obviously this is gonna start bending this way. And I might just cut slight, slits on it so I can bend it. Or maybe in this corner, I'll just get rid of everything completely. Not sure yet which way I'm gonna go, but let me cut it out, the rough opening, and then we'll start working on it. I'm gonna look through all my bolts and see if I find some bolts that are stainless, something that looks nice. If not, I'm gonna buy something, because you will be able to see these a little bit. I also don't want it to be, really big kind of square bolts. Like this. I mean, it has to be something small, but something that looks a little bit nicer. So let's see what we can figure out, and then I'll show you after I cut this piece. Okay, went ahead and cut the grill opening, pretty much like I said, the rough size on both of them. And so I'm gonna use this dolly here at the edge and then start bending the bottom. I am gonna put my gloves on because this is gonna be sharp now that I cut it. And then once I bend it, I'll use my body hammer and just hit it to make it, pretty sharp on the edge. And I am gonna cut those, like here and here, just to make sure that this bends, and then I'll bend this separately. I'm probably gonna go a little bit farther in than the line, just because, I want it to be contoured to the opening, but I don't want it to be right on there. So I'll probably, for this bottom piece, put the grill on the bottom here on the floor, and then put the level right straight. I think even though it's not 100% a straight shot from what I marked. Let's see. Actually, it's pretty straight. So I'm just gonna put the level here and just bend that whole bottom piece straight. That'll just be the easiest, and I think it'll look nicer than doing it a small piece at a time, and it might not be as, you might not see it as flat on the bottom. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you what that looks like as I do this piece, and then I'll start doing the edges. Okay, went ahead and bent this bottom part there, so it's really not hard, but I did get the level so that way it's straight, and then it's straight up, and then I just hit it. So I just did this right here, and then I with my fingers picked it up and started bending it. Once it's bent pretty good, I just hold the level and then just hit it. I use this flat part to hit it right at the corner, and so that makes it bend pretty well. So as you can see here from the front, it's pretty sharp. So it's gonna be there. I'm gonna start doing the edges. So this small part here, that's where I'll use this, try to hold it if it's like a little bit curved, and start folding it. I am gonna cut this right at the corner, so that way I can bend this one down after I bend this up. And then afterwards, I'll probably come with my grinder. I'll put like a flap disc and just try to make this a little bit smoother than right now. It could be a little sharp. I don't want to be reaching back there for anything, and you can cut your fingers pretty easy. So I'll try to do that. If anything, worst case scenario, I'll you know, they sell that stuff that you put on your doors, so you don't door ding the edge of your doors. I can put that right on that corner all the way around. That way it's just not a sharp edge. So let me and then I'm using my snips just to cut this. So I'm just gonna start cutting here on the curve. I'll probably cut a few reliefs till it's straight, and then just bend it, cut right here on the corner. So let me do this side, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so went ahead and did this curve here. I put this piece of wood because my toolbox has a ledge, so I couldn't really put it flat. But I mean, from the front, this is pretty good. I may have to hit a little bit there, but not too bad. And then I folded the top part. Now I'm gonna probably come back and just trim this a little bit so it's about the same distance all the way around. But that's looking pretty good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do this side, and then we'll be done with this front piece. Okay, went ahead and got it all done. So that's what it's gonna look like. I mean, it looks pretty good. Really wanted something that's just gonna cover. Being in the car right there though, I think I am gonna paint it black. I think silver would kind of stand out a little bit too much, so black would be best, I think. I could even paint it red, I guess. I don't know. I think black to start out with, but I just have it held on by these little clips right now, and so but you know, it's just something to kind of break off so you can't see everything behind. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna bolt it down here on the sides, and so it fit pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is do that bottom piece, and then, like I said, I'm gonna figure out which bolts to use. But definitely I think painting it black will look a lot better. I just don't want the grill to stand out so much. I want it to be subtle. So I may go back and just, you know, like here, hit it a little bit more right on this corner, so it just kind of goes in more. Just little small areas, but really it looks pretty good as it is. So I'm gonna do this part now. I'm gonna start with the bottom and then work my way all the way around. Okay, and just so y'all can see how I'm bending this, really simple, and I'm gonna start with this bottom piece. Now I guess, well, not as simple. Let me just, so it looks like this bottom piece is a little bit, you know, bent up and down. I'm just trying to decide if I do it straight, it actually, I'll just do the small piece here. Looks like all right, let me just do a shorter piece. Because it is a little bit curved, and I want to just do it straight, because then you might kind of see the, you know, it's not gonna contour to the bumper. So I'm gonna cut those, but if it was a straight piece like the other one, you would pretty much do the same thing. So I'm just gonna hold it right where I want my bend to be, and then I'm just gonna start lifting this material. So I mean, that's pretty much already bent where you want it. And if I hit it right at the corner, it makes it really, really straight. So pretty simple. It's just this piece here. I mean, it's got some curvature, so I'm gonna have to make sure that it matches. But that's pretty much the overall way that I bent the other one. Okay, so I went ahead and I did find these screws here in my box, but I didn't have the nuts to go with them. So I went and got some. Now, the thread that these were, I did not find any of the like lock nuts like this one. So I just went ahead and got some bolts. And I think this is what I'm going to use, just a 10-24 half inch. That should be plenty enough. And then just the lug nuts, that way they don't back out. And so what I'm going to do now is just mark a couple of places. So probably about here on the top. Probably here on this corner on the bottom. And probably a couple more here. And then back on this side. This one here is going to be a little bit trickier, so I'm probably just going to do a couple here on the side. For now, if I need to, later on, I think my brother maybe has a drill that has the angle. I can get a drill to drill the little pilot hole going down and going up. But for now, it's just going to go to the side. This one, I do have room here to, you know, get behind there, so that's no big deal. And kind of thinking about it, I think I'm gonna paint it black just because the silver kind of stands out, but I'm still kind of deciding, so we'll see what I do. So let me drill those holes, get this screw on there, bolt it on there, and then once it's bolted down, I'm gonna get my hammer and just kind of hit it a little bit because there's a few spots, looking at it like right now, it's hard to see in camera where, you know, the mesh is a little bit in, but once it's secured, I can actually hit it out and just make it look a little bit more even. And, you know, if I do hit like a tumbleweed or something, which we do have a lot here in New Mexico, it might bend it a little bit, but the nice thing is this material, you can pretty much just bend it back unless it's really damaged. So let me get that drilled and bolt it into the car. Okay, went ahead and bolted this bottom piece, so it looks pretty nice once everything's clean there, and I'm just gonna leave it gray for right now. I have very little black paint, so I'm just gonna leave it gray. You know, once I have it for a little while, if I do change my mind, I'll paint it, I think, black. I was thinking doing red, but I think it will just look like I didn't even take the grill off to paint the car, I think, if I do it gray. So I'll leave it, I mean, if I do it red, not gray. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. This is bolted under, so it's pretty good, just with being on the ends. Like I said, later on, I'm gonna try to get that piece from my brother, or I'll buy one and drill up and down, maybe to put 2 screws up, 2 screws down, just to make it a little bit sturdier. But for now, I mean, debris and stuff won't hit the radiator or the oil cooler, which is the main purpose. Plus also you can't see everything behind too easily. So that looks good. I'm just gonna grab my hammer, and like I was gonna do on the top one, there's just a couple pieces where it's a little bit lower or, you know, sunken in. I'm just gonna hit it slightly, but it looks pretty good. And I did drill all the holes here on the top as well. So I'm gonna put the top one, put the bolts in there, bolt it on down. All right, so I'm just gonna put this front piece on. Just gonna get the screws and nuts. I did buy some washers to put on the screws just to just to make sure that the head is, well, that the washer has got a bigger area than the head. So it just, you know, less of a chance for it to kind of rip off. Although the screws that I bought are pretty good size, where, you know, the head is way bigger than the honeycomb size. So, but I just figured a little washer will help make it better. I was just gonna grab a 3/8 wrench. I was gonna grab a 3/8 ratcheting wrench to get underneath here because I don't have room with the ratchet to get under there, but apparently, unless I just couldn't find it, I don't have a 3/8 ratcheting wrench. But I have a regular wrench, so I'm just gonna hold that on there. I think I'm gonna grab a piece of tape to put on the wrench to hold the nut. So this way I can just put a piece of tape underneath, put the nut in there, go down there to get on there. So, all right, this should be pretty simple now that it's all cut. So I'm just gonna do a bolt with the nut, and then on the other end, on the other side, it's the same thing. Gonna put another nut and then a locking nut. Now I did buy some shorter screws because I thought the other ones were going to be too long. But I think the 3/4 inch are just going to work better. The thickness of the fiberglass, it's a little bit thicker than I thought it would be. So I thought, well, I don't want the screw to stick out too much, but I think now it could also be because the mesh is a little bit farther out. Once it's tight against the nose piece, I could probably switch the bolt if I think it's too long, but I think it's gonna be okay with this 3/4 inch. And I did sand the backside of the grill here, so it's not sticking out too bad. It's still sharp because it's metal, so I made it as smooth as I could, but I'll just have to be careful when I'm reaching back here, although it's right at the edge of the grill here, so it's not like it's sticking out too much. And I'm not sure why when I was getting the bolts, because I had taken the ones that I found here, which that's what I was going to use, but I couldn't find the nuts, and I was like, well, those are kind of long, and I don't know why I thought you would be able to see all those sticking out, but they're mostly all going to be going down, so you can't even see the length. But in my head, I was thinking they were going to stick out and you could see them on the back. So that's why I was like, I'm going to get shorter ones. Which it looks like I ended up not needing. But there's always... I always need extra screws and stuff like that. So I'll just keep those for next time. So let's see, maybe on these bottom ones I can use the short ones just because there's not a lot of room down here. Nope. Even there, I think the longer ones will work better because it's kind of hard to get back here. So I'll just use the longer one, and that way I can actually guide it. And okay, it's gonna be a little bit harder than I thought. I think if I use a longer screwdriver and then just reach my fingers right behind. There we go. Not too bad. You just gotta find a way. So I'm gonna continue putting all the screws just like this, and then once I'm done, I'll show you really what it looks like. Okay, so got this top part all done. Looks pretty good. Again, I mean, this is a simple and expensive way to do your grill. I mean, with the screws, I think this is gonna cost under $50, so a lot less expensive than buying like the billet one or the ones that are made for this front end. So, you know, they get pretty expensive just because they're like the ones made for these, which I'm sure you'll still have to do some trimming. So I think with the way this hood is, you know, I can have the plug in there anyway. So let's take a look here. Oh, duh, it won't close with the clamps in there. What an idiot. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room up there. But from the front, I mean, that looks pretty nice, if I say so myself. So that's pretty good. I did want to put something here, so eventually I'm going to order something to cover this here, and so that way it looks cleaner. But I'm not sure. I might get some of that brushed aluminum like I did on the center console, get a bigger piece and just cut it to go straight across. I will have to cut for where the factory hinge would have gone, because I think this will hit. I guess I could have cut this piece when I had the hood before painting it, but at this point I'm not gonna do that now. So but overall it looks good, so I'm just gonna add a couple touches here and then it's gonna be all set. Okay, so it's all complete, and I did add a snake that I had for years. I ordered that probably about 6 years ago. It's supposed to be, I think, like a 2013 Shelby GT500 emblem. So there it is. Looks pretty good. I am going to leave it this silver color until later. I may go black on it, but actually once everything is said and done, it looks pretty cool, that color. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.